In my previous video, I showed how Trump is playing the Julius Caesar role and how it's connected to Abraham Lincoln and JFK. All of those characters were assassinated, and this is predictive programming that Trump will be assassinated. So Lincoln appears in the film Trackdown as one of the characters, as there is a character called Trump who wants to build a wall and who's described as a snake oil salesman, and says the world's going to end due to the Leonid meteors. And there's a character, it looks like Abraham Lincoln, he says no, it's just the Leonid meteor storm. This is the repetition of a story from Lincoln, Abraham Lincoln. In 1833 there was a Leonid meteor storm. Now, Abraham Lincoln is responsible for the Civil War, and he was shot by an actor in the theatre. There's lots of comparisons between Lincoln and Kennedy. Kennedy was shot in a Lincoln car, and there's lots of other parallels. And there was also the Civil Rights Movement. There was also the Cuban Missile Crisis. So you have Lincoln, the Civil War, and you have Julius Caesar. Julius Caesar was responsible for the Civil War when he crossed the Rubicon, and Trump has just crossed the Rubicon by announcing he's going to run again. So Caesar was involved in a civil war with Pompey, and then Caesar was assassinated, and then there was a comet. And we know this was in a play. This was portrayed in a play by Shakespeare called Julius Caesar. The first man to get the snake oil was called Julius Caesar. And so I've shown in all my videos how there's connections to Julius Caesar and The Economist magazine. The Economist magazine is owned by the Redshields, the bankers. And we have the connection between Trump, Artemis 1, and JFK, who was who's the president behind Apollo 11. AA, Apollo and Artemis, the twins, is 1-1. And on September 11th, you had the Twin Towers go down. Remember, Apollo and Artemis are twins. And you had Building 7, which was the Solomon Brothers building, also collapsed. Building 7, Solomon, Sun and Moon. Also, September is the 7th Roman month. And we have the plane, one of the planes was AA-11. AA 1111, 1111. We're in the month of November, the 11th month, and also the 9th month. Now in the film Trackdown, it says it places the Trump character at the Leonid meteor shower. The Leonid meteor shower this year is from the 17th to the 19th. Now Trump made his announcement, his crossing the Rubicon announcement, on the 15th of November, so around the same time as the Leonid meteor shower. Now we have here more predictive programming, that there was actually a play performed in New York. Shakespeare's play was performed in New York called Julius Caesar, and the character who was portraying Julius Caesar in the play was Donald Trump, and he is assassinated to save democracy. So this was 6 years ago.
The production.
So someone tried to disrupt the performance, a protester.
Their rants temporarily stopping the show in Central Park. One woman stormed the stage saying, "Stop the normalization of violence against the right." Another man shouted, "This is violence against Donald Trump."
So you have Trump assassinated as he is playing Julius Caesar in a play in New York around 5 years ago.
A Donald Trump-like leader who was assassinated by his closest advisors.
Okay?
They obviously played pretty.
So it shows you there the connections. Remember The Economist cover 2017, where you have Trump as a world leader with the crown. We've just had the death of the Queen. And that cover, I have showed you the links to Shakespeare. And on The Economist 2020, it says Trump exit. You don't count the zeros, the year in 22. Now it looks like this event might happen during the World Cup. This is because many years ago, so 8 years ago, on the BBC, Match of the Day 2, they flashed this end sequence which has flashing all-seeing eyes, and it talks about the death of Julius Caesar. Now, I remember watching this, and they showed this program in April, which doesn't make sense as the death of Caesar was in March, the Ides of March. Remember that Caesar was warned before he was shot, before he was stabbed, and Trump has been warned not to run. And this seems to show that this is Match of the Day 2, that it could be during the World Cup that Trump is assassinated. So watch this.
Now, if you are a fan of Shakespeare, as in William, and not the former Walsall midfielder Craig, you will know that this weekend marked the date of trepidation known as the Ides of March. Makes you think just who in the Premier League is looking nervously over their shoulder. Good night.
Beware the Ides of March. So much pressure on his shoulders. A date forever laced with portent and foreboding.
So, if you watch this, you see that the all-seeing eye flashes up. Subliminal. This is subliminal programming. The all-seeing eye of the Illuminati keeps flashing up. And remember that the World Cup this year is in the European mid-season. So it's in the winter. It's a winter World Cup. This is very unusual. Also, if you have all the domestic football stopped, it gives them a chance to orchestrate some event in Europe. So maybe something connected with the Ukraine as well.
When futures can be shaped and destinies determined.
Who will be slave to the fortunes today? Company leaves the arena. He's a hero. Feel the anxiety in the air. Fortune favours the brave. Oh, how he needs some late intervention from somewhere. Distraught and defeated. Today feels strong-minded.
That's it, losing their grip on the tide.
Today may be the day the walls came tumbling down.
Remember that Trump is famous for building a wall. And it says walls come tumbling down.
Beware the Ides of March.
So it just slows it down, and you can see the all-seeing eye Freemasonic symbolism flashed. And it was flashed in a subliminal way at the end of this program, and I think it's to do with the death of Trump, and that it's going to maybe be during the World Cup.
Portent and
Also, what's interesting is at the end of this program, on the BBC graphic, they used to show the all-seeing eye of the Londonite and a UFO flying around it. There's the UFO, and that actually happened on a New Year's Eve. There was like this UFO around the London Eye. So it seems like the stage is being set for the exit of Donald Trump, who is playing the Julius Caesar role. And remember, he was responsible for Operation Warp Speed. The first man to take it was called William Shakespeare. Thank you.